The following video features Mr. Yousef, who is the son of the founder of Hamas. And he wrote a book that I read many years ago. It's called The Green Prince. And I will discuss some of it after he describes what he sees going on in the Middle East, in Palestine.
There are a bunch of movements coming forward in the West, angry in the streets, protesting. Some call themselves pro-Palestine, some call themselves free Palestine. Others say end occupation. What occupation are you talking about? Do you mean end Israel and give Hamas what they want? Give Hamas weaponry, territory, soldiers, army, so they can mess more with the global security? Are you totally blind? How can't you see the things in common between the West and Israel? And how can't you see the violence and the brutality of Hamas movement? Or it's your hatred. You have nothing to do with Palestine. You're just projecting hatred and inflicting emotional pain on the Jewish people as they mourn a modern day Holocaust. Do you think this is how you help Palestine? There is no such a thing as Palestine. Palestine what? Yasser Arafat Palestine, PLO Palestine, PA Palestine, Hamas Palestine, Islamic Jihad Palestine. What Palestine are you protesting for? You have no idea what you're talking about. I am being emotional. I have the right to be emotional because I speak on behalf of the children. As a Palestinian child, as a child of the land, I qualify to talk about the subject. But you have no idea what you're talking about. You've never been there. You did not live the pain of that land. So what are you protesting against or about? What is your problem? Let me be clear. This war will go the way we want it to go. Your opinion doesn't matter. Even if you were a majority, you don't matter. Not in this war. It's not your business. You protest against your politicians in London, in Paris, everywhere, wherever you want. That's your business. But in the Middle East, we deal with business the Middle East style. The Middle East style. We are going after Hamas leaders, and we're going to kill all of them. And nobody can get in the way. Those are criminals. Those are terrorists. They have lots of blood on their hands. Hamas prisoners in Israeli prisons must be executed. We are going to destroy Hamas infrastructure. And that's the answer for their brutality. There is no way around it. As you see, I'm not politically correct. I'm not your type. And I will not be. This act of Hamas did not only bring the wrath of Israel against Gaza, it brought the wrath of God. And you will see God in action.
I guess I shouldn't have said Palestine because there's never been a Palestine. The arguments that I see from people that say from the river to the sea and call for the Jewish state to be abolished is based on the frame that the Jewish state should have never existed. Here's the reality. It does. To want differently, to want this tiny little piece of land that was given to the Jews after World War II, after there were attempts to genocide them in the Holocaust, that which the Palestinian leader at the time was all about, wanting to be Hitler's right-hand man in terms of exterminating the Jews. So to think that these two factions can live peacefully with one another only takes shape in any way if the Jew is subservient to the Muslim, which is the way that it used to be throughout Muslim societies. This was a way to get people to convert, etc. You have this tiny sliver of land that is Israel. And what our man here is stating is that Israel has the right to exist, which it seems that with all the protests going on around the world, many people, unfortunately, don't believe. They think that Israel should just have a ceasefire after Hamas planned for 2 years the slaughter of as many Israeli citizens, Jews, as they could get their hands on and wring their necks, and to kill Jewish babies. And this is being blamed on Israel. Just a little bit of background. In 2005, I believe, Israel gave the entire Gaza Strip to the Palestinian people, to the Arabs who lived there. And they withdrew every single Jewish person, all those that ran greenhouses, that had their synagogue. They took every single one of them off of their land, moved them back into Greater Israel, and gave the Palestinian people this land. Very quickly, they elected a terrorist organization that within its charter has the destruction of Israel and every Jew that lives there as paramount to their goals. How can you possibly live peacefully with such people? And they've had 20 years to indoctrinate every single Palestinian child into such thinking. Then they go off and slaughter 1,400 Israelis. And before Israel retaliates in any way, protests around the world, Black Lives Matter, stating that they stand with Palestine. The anti-Semitism is so rampant that before the Jewish people do anything to the Palestinians, these leftists are calling them out because they hate the West, they hate the values of the West, and they want to flip the playing board over and give themselves power. And what they will do with the power is to annihilate anybody who disagrees with them, to force people into their mode of thinking, the same way that radical Islam seeks to make the world an Islamic caliphate. So how can you not agree with the son of the founder of Hamas here, who is telling you what the situation on the ground is? There are things that you could criticize Israel for, right? There's no perfection here. There's nobody who's positively blameless. But as they say, Israel could lay down their arms and be slaughtered to a person, guaranteed. Whereas if Hamas laid down their arms, there would be peace, because that is the difference between what the two sides actually want. Hamas wants to annihilate Israel, to kill all the Jews there, and everybody protesting for Hamas, for Palestine, is giving the go-ahead for such actions.